Greetings. For today's book feature, I'm going to be reading a book entitled Saving the Day, Garrett Morgan's life-changing invention of the traffic signal. It was written by Karyn Parsons and illustrated by Gregory Christie. If the author sounds a little bit familiar, she played the character Hillary in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So this is a really exciting story. It lets us know how the traffic light came to be. Saving the Day, Garrett Morgan's life-changing invention of the traffic signal. Morning dawned, and the sun's golden rays signaled to Garrett Morgan that it was a new day. With his head in the clouds, always full of a dream, he was no help to others, or so it seemed. His brothers and sisters worked the house and the field, but Garrett's talents had yet to be revealed. He fell off all ladders, couldn't hammer a nail, was too weak to lift things, not even a pail. They'd all say, "Run along, go be by yourself." And though he liked dreaming, he wanted to help. He'd spend time alone. Long walks he would take, his mind imagining new creations to make. In the middle of the road, a wheel lay on the ground. "I know I can use that." So Garrett bent down. But sometimes his dreaming got him into trouble. He wouldn't watch where he was going, his mind in a bubble. See, along came a car, from the side a red truck. And though they missed Garrett, their nerves had been struck. Both slammed on their brakes, dodged the boy by a hair. But the near collision gave everyone a scare. Back at home, his mom said, "You wait here for your dad." He just knew he was in trouble, that his parents were mad. His father walked in, looked at Garrett a beat, then called him over. "Come here, son, have a seat. You have a great mind, imaginative, keen, ready to invent new from what has not yet been seen. Yes, you have a great mind, but could do even more. A tutor in the city could help your dreams soar. This decision was hard. We don't want you away, but it's for your own good. You'll understand one day." Then Garrett's mother pulled him close and she said, "But always remember this, son. Keep this in your head. While Ruth's good at fishing and Will likes to bake, Lucille loves the stars and the patterns they make. Frank's good with tools, can fix anything, and Minnie's at her best when she can sing. You too, son, have something that's all yours alone, something to contribute that's just not yet known. All are given a gift, something you can learn. It's what you do with that gift that's your gift in return." The city was loud, people everywhere, and cars and horses and bicycles were there, all on the same roads, all at the same time, horns honking, cars crashing, no reason or rhyme. Garrett studied hard, and when his lessons were done, he found a job doing something he found fun, fixing sewing machines with their rotors and springs, and gears and buttons made him think of many things, like a new kind of stitch on the sewing machine, one that made zigzags and kept edges clean. His mind churned and churned with new ideas to invent. Some drew attention. Some helped pay the rent. But Garrett didn't care about fame or about wealth. What he wanted most was to show he could help. The day's early dawn signaled Garrett to wake. He decided to walk. A scenic route he would take. The grass, sparkling green, had just been cut low. Garrett longed to run through it. He decided to go. But just as he started, a white car whizzed past, heading for the crosswalk and going quite fast. Then he heard tires screech and someone yelled, "Stop!" A horse and carriage were approaching. He could hear the hooves clop. But the horse kept on going, didn't even slow down. Garrett ran fast to warn them, but soon heard the sound. First a crash and a boom. Then the horse whinnied high. When Garrett finally got there, he tried not to cry. Though everyone was okay and the horse would be all right, he'd seen too many wrecks. It was a terrible sight. That day, as he worked on a sewing machine, his mind drifted back to the collision he'd seen. There had to be some way to let drivers know that someone else is approaching, when to stop and to go. And a signal before stopping, so first they could slow down, but they'd have to see it. It couldn't only be sound. But as Garrett wandered home, ideas in his head flowing, he forgot to pay attention to just where he was going. He stepped off a curb. The bike signaled, no doubt. He saw a bright light, and then he went out. His mind was filled with colorful light, on and then off. What a beautiful sight. The green grass of a field, illuminated by sun, shone bright and invited Garrett to run. Golden light through the window eased in the morning. A new day was beginning. It was a subtle warning. The red glow of the coals, far too hot to touch, told Garrett to stop. One more move was too much. His mind was racing. Ideas twisted and knotted. Then he suddenly jumped and exclaimed, "I've got it! A traffic signal!" That's what he'd create, so all could travel safely. Yes, it'd be great. The red, yellow, and green would come along later, but it was Garrett's foundation that made us all safer. Garrett had a gift. Yes, that is a fact. But what meant the most was that he gave back. The end. And at the end of the book, we have the author's note. In the years that I've worked to bring the stories of little-known African American innovators and heroes to children and their families, I've discovered countless Black inventors whose contributions are often everyday items that we take for granted. Some are simple objects used around the house, while others are far more complex. When I would share the accomplishments and innovations of Black people that I'd unearthed, I sometimes found my enthusiasm met with silence, a cloud of doubt. Many found it impossible to believe that Black people were capable of doing great things. The shocked responses that I received from children and adults when they hear about Garrett Morgan make me see how necessary it is for these stories to be shared with young readers. Morgan came from a big family. He was a gifted inventor, an observer who focused on fixing problems. He was inspired to create a T-shaped traffic signal that had a caution warning after witnessing an accident at a problematic intersection. In between these truths, I imagined this story to highlight how Morgan was able to do something great and important by focusing his creative energy. But this is a book for children. I wrote Morgan's story in rhyme, and the dialogue is not verbatim. Instead, the dialogue represents the spirit of what was told throughout Morgan's life. When I decided to share Morgan's story as a Sweet Blackberry short film, I had a hard time sticking simply to his invention of the traffic signal, because his contributions to our everyday life are vast and varied. Ultimately, focusing on Morgan's traffic signal made the most sense. After all, Sweet Blackberry's audience is made up of young children who are fairly new to navigating busy streets and crosswalks. But Morgan invented products, accomplished extraordinary things, and embarked on ventures throughout his impressive life. Most notable was his invention of a breathing device that he called the Morgan Safety Hood and Smoke Protector. It would later be dubbed the gas mask, the blueprint of which would be used to provide American soldiers with protection during World War I. Morgan was also a dedicated activist. He faced tremendous racism as he made strides in business, but through activism and politics, he used the success he had achieved to help fight for equal rights and opportunities for African Americans. In 1923, Morgan would patent the traffic signal. There had been versions of a machine to help mitigate traffic before this, but Morgan's invention offered a three-way traffic signal, what is now the yellow light system, allowing drivers a warning, giving them time to stop. The red, yellow, and green traffic light we know today would come after Morgan's invention. However, his mechanism is the foundation for that stoplight. Morgan took his talent, along with the successes and failures, and found a way to always give back. I invite you to learn more about his impressive life, a true gift indeed. And then we see a picture of his traffic signal. And just like the author said, it is shaped like a T, the official patent for Morgan's traffic signal invention, courtesy of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And then here is a picture of Garrett A. Morgan, circa 1950, in a suit with a medal pinned to it. Okay. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's reading of Saving the Day. I really found it to be an awesome story, and it is so wonderful to learn more about the humble beginnings of Garrett A. Morgan. Take care.